Hi again, and welcome to my ArtShare videos. In the last video, I introduced my character Janet and showed some of the best graphite pencil drawings I had done of her from a few years ago. If you haven't seen that one yet, go check it out. In this video, I'll be showing color pencil composition drawings featuring Janet that I've done over the years. These are the best artworks I have featuring Janet, but I have many more. I hope you find these pictures enjoyable, so let's get started. Okay, so this picture was drawn in 2011 or 2012 on 11 by 17 paper. It's all in colored pencils, and it's colored all the way to the edge. There's no borders here. This is Janet standing in a 1970s era housing estate, which is in the UK, although she's not British. It's just the background I chose to have at the time. And has this very large tower block framed by these two other buildings that she's standing next to with an overhead enclosed walkway above. So I think this is the first time that I've shown her wearing the turtleneck cream colored sweater. Now, shading of it's pretty nice. If you look at it closely, you can see that she's wearing this heart necklace on the outside of it, and then she's wearing her yoga pants. And in this scene, you can see some evidence here from the trees that there's no leaves on the trees, so it'd be wintertime or maybe early spring. Sometimes a little bit colder with an overcast sky, and there's some puddles there, some evidence of rain that has happened. With her face, I wish I could have used some deeper tones. She looks a little bit too China doll in this and maybe too shy and fearful, but overall, I still think it's a pretty nice picture of her and a very nice background with some very good shading, especially on the building with the darker tones here, which is a lot of kind of browns and grays and maybe some reddish colors. Overall, this is definitely one of my favorite pictures from this era. And so this picture then is one of my favorite that I've ever done. This was drawn in 2011. It took about 3 months to complete. And Janet standing in front of these two buildings that are actually in a scene that I showed in the last video. This is those same buildings in color where she was sitting down in front of. These are supposed to be the buildings that she actually lives in. So they're it's a similar type of idea to the scene where she was standing at the seaside. You have some tall modern buildings placed at an angle with Janet facing into the sunset, eyes closed, enjoying the breeze blowing through her hair. If you look here, you can see her left hand is patting her hip and her right hand holding her purse. And she has these two bracelets on her wrist. And this outfit she's wearing, the salmon color dress shirt and black yoga pants, looks very stylish on her, and I draw her wearing this a lot from this point forward. And of course, she loves being fashionable when she's going out shopping barefoot. I'm especially proud of these buildings. The tower blocks stand out against the sky, looking three-dimensional. There's some details on the buildings, like these balconies and the way the windows reflect the sky and reflect some of the sunlight. It's definitely nice coloring there, and there's other aspects of this background I like the way the road goes by on the right side with the trees and street light, the birds flying above. I really fussed over the sky. There's all kinds of colors in it. There's some peach, some oranges and blue, and even fuchsia green in the way I gradient the sky upwards. So yeah, overall the composition in this picture is by far one of my strongest, and I featured it in a portfolio. I did get accepted to the program, so they must have liked it. I hope you like it as well. This is supposed to be the lobby of her building, or one of the buildings on the housing estate where she lives. I saw a photo somewhere of the lobby of one of these 60s tower blocks years ago, and it had this colorful tile pattern. So the entire drawing became this exercise in rendering the shiny surface with the sun shining on it, causing light to bounce off to the ceiling and the floor. I like the way the elevator door is with the gradient shading, and the indicator above it has a light lit indicating a floor. The building is supposed to be a fictionalized place based on a real place, so I changed the name slightly. It was named after a real person. And Janet is posing by the elevator door, and she looks okay, but not as nice as in the previous art. This is showing up close how her feet are posed, and you can see some reflection of her foot on the shiny floor. I love the mood of this picture. It could have been enhanced by some more shading on Janet's skin to make it darker in shadow, but the color palette gives it a feeling of nostalgia and makes it one of my favorite interiors. This picture is from 2013. I made it after I left architecture school, and it took at least 4 months to finish it. You can tell by the brown and tan concrete that this is the same place from the first drawing in this video. This is a 1970s modernist plaza with very large housing blocks. Behind the shopping center is a 16-floor block connected to a long 7-floor block behind it, which is connected by 2 enclosed walkways to the 10-floor block facing us in the background. If you look closely between the 7 and 10-floor blocks, this is where she was standing in the previous picture. So this was done as a part 2 or a follow-up to that picture. There is also a 4-floor apartment building closer to us, and behind it is a row of garages where if you look really closely you can see a car parked, probably an old 70s liftback or something. Janet is out shopping by herself in the shopping center. There are no other people around, so it could be a Sunday afternoon. That's what I imagined, and she looks a little intimidated or lonely as she pats through the quiet place, so you'd maybe hear just the soft slap of bare feet and maybe voices in the air from all the open windows in the tower blocks. The stores are mostly closed. Imagining things like this is how I like to create moods in my pictures. This started out as a reference photo of some amazing 70s housing architecture, and I placed Janet into the scene, changed it from a cloudy to a more clear day, which cast these shadows. Unfortunately, I didn't understand the sunshine would have cast bluer shadows than this, so it looks kind of drab. There's a lot I could say about this picture, like the public restrooms located beneath a zigzag-shaped stairway that goes up to a third-level walkway, or the garden island here, and the detail of all the different color curtains and the hundreds of windows of people's flats. There's a lot going on in this picture that you could see by zooming in. Feel free to freeze the video anywhere. Overall, it's one of my best pictures, but like I said, it's not perfect by any means. But it was a lot of work, and I think it turned out pretty good. Okay, so then we come to this drawing. This is from 2014. It's a continuation of the same kind of theme as the rest of these compositions, with the subject, Janet, posing with a tower block or similar type of building as backdrop. This time she's waiting for a train at this transit station. The tower and surrounding low-rise housing is brown brick and is articulated with these balconies. It's an H-plan block by the look of it. I used references for the buildings, but everything else is imagined. The transit station here and the concrete wall separating it from the surroundings. The power lines and trees far off, and the sky is colored again to suggest a late afternoon or early evening. Janet looks especially cute. She's using her hands again, this time patting the bench and her purse. She might be swaying her feet side to side rhythmically, just being very happy after another fun afternoon casually shopping. You can see I made an attempt to show some decay and hints of neglect, like the graffiti and scribbling on the dividing wall, and hint of rubbing away of the yellow warning line at the edge of the platform. Janet looks really good in this with a nice hourglass shape, and she's wearing the same outfit again. And finally, I should mention how good her feet were drawn. This is different than some of her figure poses. They're black and dirty from walking around the city all day and on transit. She's wiggling her toes and clearly loving her barefoot lifestyle. And that's Janet. And that's all for now on color pencil drawings. I hope you enjoyed viewing my artwork and listening to me describe it. Thank you for watching, and please consider liking or even subscribing to help me get some exposure. I'd truly appreciate it. And I hope to see you again soon.